Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I want to talk about this article that I read a few days ago, and it's about Modern Warfare 2019, the one that's coming out this year. And this game, Modern Warfare, has just so many controversies with these gaming reporters, and I shouldn't even call them reporters because they've pretty much lost all credibility of all the things that they've been attacking the game on, like the fact that the game is too violent, it's too graphic. They were complaining about that, but now they're complaining about something else. They're complaining about a kill streak. And they're not complaining that the kill streak could be overpowered or anything. That's not what they're complaining about. They're complaining about the fact that the kill streak, they're saying, is inhumane. That's what they're complaining about. So they are complaining about white phosphorus. Now, white phosphorus is a weapon that will be in Modern Warfare multiplayer. I believe it is an 8 kill streak. I could be wrong on that. I'll have to double check that. But regardless, it is a kill streak. You earn it a number of kills without dying. You earn it. You call it in. It's an airstrike. And they're complaining over the fact that it is too inhumane, that it shouldn't be in the game, that it's too inhumane, and this is just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to be reading through this article here, and I'm going to let you guys know what I think about it. And this article, I'm warning you guys, this article is pretty biased, and the guy that wrote this article, he pretty much agrees that white phosphorus should not be in the game. You'll see just by what he wrote, but let me read this out to you guys. So let's see here. Modern Warfare dev reacts to Call of Duty's white phosphorus controversy. Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer designer-director Geoff Smith spoke out on Infinity Ward's decision-making process behind including the controversial white phosphorus killstreak that has been getting the game so much negative publicity recently. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the most promising game that the series has advertised in years, but the build-up to launch thus has been marred by controversial design decisions that have distracted from the gameplay evolution present within the title, which I don't know what he's talking about here, controversial design decisions. What is that supposed to mean? But anyways, moving on. Infinity Ward is getting good at diffusing controversy, at least. The developer had its hands full earlier during the Modern Warfare pre-release media cycle, when it was revealed the game would contain child soldier sections, as well as the ability to kill unarmed civilians during gameplay. Infinity Ward hasn't shied away from inviting these criticisms towards its upcoming game, just like the studio has likewise been bold and brash in its answers regarding the content, often citing the developer's desire for realism within the game regardless of how outwardly shocking or offensive it may seem. White phosphorus is a chemical used by military forces, and its improper use can constitute a war crime. Though it's worth noting, it's typically used as smoke and cover disorienting tactic. Oh man. This is just ridiculous. You know, the Infinity Ward has said that with this game, they want to capture the horrors of war. And, you know, one thing to capture the horrors of war is they're going to have this weapon in the game. It's not promoting the use of the weapon. It's not saying that this weapon is correct, this weapon is good. It has it in the game because this is a war game. And they want to show the horrors of war, just like they've said before. And these reporters, shouldn't even call them reporters at this point. They just don't understand that. And if these people were in charge of making this game, this would be such a generic game. It would have nothing different. It would be the same thing as the last Call of Duty, over and over and over, same thing again, and they pretty much ruin it. So I'm actually happy that Infinity Ward is standing its ground, and they're not going to be changing any of this stuff. So moving on, let's read right here. While speaking during an interview with VG247, Smith explained that Infinity Ward approaches the multiplayer setting with an entire different mindset than the one for its single-place mode, hence the more casual inclusion of a weaponized chemical in multiplayer. Here's what Smith had to say about the philosophy that saw white phosphorus in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Our game is more about two sides, that there is no good or bad guy. You play on either one. We're just creating this playground to play on. This is just a multiplayer game, you know, one team versus another team. You have the single player where you have the story, and I guess the multiplayer carries over in the story a little bit as you have the two factions fighting each other, but it just players killing each other. That's all it is. And these people are complaining about white phosphorus. Let me tell you something, though. There are games that do much more brutal things in their games. And I wonder where these reporters were during those games. And I'm not saying those things should be changed either, but I mean, how many games do you know that have flamethrowers? A flamethrower is considered an extremely inhumane weapon, but it's a weapon. In so many games, there are so many games where you can use a flamethrower, and that's a very inhumane weapon. However, though, it is for a video game. Nobody is promoting the use of flamethrowers by having them in their game, saying, oh, these weapons are good, these weapons should be allowed. No, nobody is promoting that. It is for a video game. Just like in Call of Duty World at War, you had the flamethrower. Flamethrowers were used in World War II. And, you know, you have in Battlefield 1, you have mustard gas in that one. That is during World War One, and you have this poisonous toxic gas did really terrible things, but that was realistic in a World War One setting. That happened. They used that gas in World War One. It was a terrible weapon. They used it. Like Battlefield 1 wasn't promoting the use of that weapon. It was just in the game because that was a weapon that was used during the conflict. And while Modern Warfare 2019 is not based on an actual war, it is going for that modern military setting, and they are trying to show the horrors of war. They're trying to show the terrible things that happen with war. You can't show the terrible things that happen in war without having terrible things in there. That would not make much sense. So I don't understand how just having a kill streak like this can just bother people like this. I mean, where were these people when they had the nuke? They had the nuke in Modern Warfare 2, and even in the single player. In Call of Duty 4, in the single player, it was when the Marines just got destroyed by the nuke. The nuke just went off and just destroyed everything in the area. It just killed everyone. Absolute destruction. You know, where were these people then? And I'm not saying that should have been taken out of the game, but nobody was complaining about it back then. But now these journalists, they have just gotten so sensitive with these things. They're just so sensitive. It's like any game, it's going to be in the future where any game that has a gun in it is going to be considered bad. That's just the degree that they're going with. And it might sound ridiculous, but complaining about something like this, and even if you're not a Call of Duty fan, this is very important. It's very important to fight back against this, because if a few gaming reporters like this can complain about the game saying, oh, this is inhumane, and they get the game censored, the developer changes something in the game because a few reporters complain, if a game like Call of Duty can be changed because of that, any game can be changed. So even if you're not a Call of Duty player, this is very important because any game could be changed. If Call of Duty can be censored, any game can be censored. So let's keep reading here. The inclusion of white phosphorus also emerged from a conscious decision from Infinity Ward to create a kill streak that better displayed a disorientation effect than an EMP could. Smith mentioned that conveying an electromagnetic pulse was difficult. With white phosphorus, it will presumably have a noticeable effect on the map and on gameplay, without needing subtle recognition from players. Still, it's not exactly a great explanation as to why there's a weaponized chemical being hyped up as a killstreak bonus in Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer. Oh man, I just can't read this. When I just read through what this guy is writing, it's just ridiculous. You know, there are so many violent games, so many brutal games out there, and you're complaining about this. You're complaining that there's a kill streak in the game, and you don't like the weapon being in the game. Oh man, that's just. It's, you know, I wonder how these reporters would have reacted if they actually played Outlast. Do these reporters actually play war games? Do these reporters play war games? Because I remember when I was a kid, I was 14 years old, and I was playing Call of Duty World at War. In that game, you got hit directly with artillery. The artillery would just blow your legs, your arms off. It was brutal, but that happened. You get hit by an artillery shell, and you know it's brutal. That happened in the game. It had those effects. So, you know, what happened? What happened? Back then, you know, nobody was complaining about this stuff, but now you have reporters that are just going to be complaining about this type of stuff. That a weapon in a game is inhumane. Nobody is promoting the weapon. Nobody's promoting the weapon in real life. Nobody is saying that this is a good weapon in real life. Nobody is saying that. This is for a game. This is for a fictional conflict, a virtual conflict with virtual soldiers blowing each other up. It's not real. It's a game. So let's keep reading here. What do we have here? Smith correctly pointed out that previous games included nukes and didn't stir up the same amount of controversy that the inclusion of white phosphorus had, but those were operating on different axes. The nuke has been a major part of gaming culture for decades now between Fallout, Call of Duty, and other post-apocalyptic games, and it's frequently treated with the right amount of gravitas, which I don't even understand what he's going with. So let me get this straight. What this guy is writing here is he's basically saying that because the nuke appears in so many games, it's okay to do, and because white phosphorus does not appear in any other games besides this game, then it's wrong to do? Is that the logic that he's using? So, according to this guy, if white phosphorus was in as many games as it was in, as the nuke was in so many games, then it would be okay. And the developer, the Infinity Ward, made a good point right here when they brought up the nukes. They had the nukes, nobody was complaining about that. How can you complain about violence in a violent game, a war game? And you know, there are some games, I look at some games, and if I don't like a game, you know what I do if I don't like a game? I don't buy it. That's just what I do. If I don't like a game, I'm not a fan of it, I say, this game is not for me, I don't buy it. Like, for instance, I'm not a fan of Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite. It's just not a game for me, but I have nothing against the game. I'm not just going to go out there and say, oh, this should be changed, this should be changed, this should be changed because I don't like it. No, I don't do that. I just mind my own business and just say this game is not for me. Maybe somebody else will enjoy it, but it's just not for me. That's it. I played through the Outlast games. I played through Outlast 1 and Outlast 2, and these were horror games. You know, these aren't shooters, but these games were very, very violent, very graphic. There were some really messed up scenes in Outlast, some pretty brutal, violent scenes. I don't even want to talk about them here, but there are some really violent scenes in Outlast 1 and 2, and the fact that they're getting upset that there's going to be a kill streak in the game. And the thing is, I don't even think Modern Warfare 2019 has gore. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think the game has gore. I think it only has blood. I don't think it has gore in the game. So these people are complaining about a kill streak being in a game. Just whatever. Let's see, what does it say here at the end? Many of the critics of Modern Warfare's white phosphorus don't necessarily want it removed outright, but rather to be explored with the same careful and somber approach that Infinity Ward has been so proud of with regard to its upcoming single-player campaign. So, he's saying critics don't want it removed, but rather to be explored with the same careful and somber approach that Infinity Ward has been so proud of. What is that supposed to mean? You're attacking it, you're saying that it's an inhumane weapon, but then you're saying, no, we don't want it removed. How does that make sense? So you're criticizing the weapon being in the game, but now you're saying, oh, we don't want it removed. These people, they have no idea what they're talking about. These are the same people that just complain about ridiculous things in video games. They complain that the new Ghost Recon game, that it's not going to have a political message. These people are just going to find something to complain about, and, you know, we should ignore them. We shouldn't pay attention to these people. I hate having to read this article in the first place because this guy is just talking nonsense, but it's important. It's important to also know about this type of stuff and respond to it. And we as fans, we as gamers should tell these people, no, you are not going to change the games that we like. You are not going to censor the games that we like. We want a game that is for us the gamers, for us the fans. We want a war game. We want a war game with a brutal setting. We want that. That is what they were going for. The horrors of war. Infinity Ward has said that many times. That is the setting that they're going for. And we should not allow a few gaming reporters that have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, haven't played games like this, that are going to be deciding for us, and deciding for us as an audience as a whole, and telling us, no, this game is too violent for you. This game is too graphic for you. We're going to have to censor this game. We know what's best for you. That's exactly what these reporters are acting like. They're acting like they know what's best for us. They're acting like they're smarter than us. No, we have to stand our ground against this. We're going to say no to this. You're not going to censor our game because, again, remember, this is to all games, not just Call of Duty. And even if you don't play Call of Duty and you're watching this video, you should be extremely against these reporters because if they can censor Call of Duty, any game can be censored. I can't imagine what would happen if they tried to censor Grand Theft Auto. If they tried to censor Grand Theft Auto, that is a game that I play a lot, that would be the end of Grand Theft Auto. If Grand Theft Auto ever got censored, that would be the end of it. Because Grand Theft Auto is a crime game. And if you censor a crime game, that is it. That is it for the game. The game series is done. So we have to basically stand our ground against this and not allow this to happen. So let me know, guys, down below. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of them complaining about white phosphorus? And also, this last thing I'm going to say here is this is not the last Modern Warfare controversy. I guarantee you it, because there have been so many controversies with these reporters complaining about nonsense. They are going to find something else to complain about. You'll see. It's going to happen within the next few months. It could even happen next week, where they're going to find something else that they don't like in the game, and they're going to complain about something ridiculous. And I don't mind criticism for a game. I don't. But when that criticism is valid, when it's constructive criticism, when it's something valid, you don't like a weapon being overpowered, you don't like a weapon doing something annoying in the game, that is valid criticism. But complaining that something is too inhumane being in a game, that's just nonsense. This is a war game. This is not a game that's rated E for everyone. This is an M-rated game. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you're new to my channel, drop my comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.